things like, let's say the TV licence, that's one of the big stories this month,
Yes.
which is totally outside the Isle of Man's control, and yet, the Treasury Minister's going in front of the cameras and on the radio and saying, we'll sort things out, but of course there's nothing much that can be done at this stage, surely.
Well, and I have a feeling that people that are paying for a Sky licence to watch television, and it's very expensive. I mean, we're not talking about pence. If they could make a choice, they either have BBC or Sky. Now, of course, there is a reason for people who cannot genuinely afford a licence to be able to watch television. That's fine. But I think people who are paying for Sky and demanding a free BBC licence is a little bit different.
So this comes down to means testing?
Yes, indeed. And that's something that the government have wavered on for far too long. I mean, we don't have means testing for public sector housing. We all know that there are people that run businesses from public sector housing.
You see, you say that, but anyone in government, of course, it's trickier, isn't it? Because they've got to get the votes next time round, and we're getting to that point now.
But then I never did that. That's why, I mean, I most probably... yes, that, yeah. I mean, I do think you've got to be truthful when you're a politician. And the truth is, we need to address how we're going to cope with people who genuinely are in need. And if the government do not face up to that challenge, and it will be a challenge in the future because there will not be long pensions from work or from the state, so it's something that needs to be addressed. It needs to be addressed swiftly.
Right.
And also the rate issue, the rating issue for the Isle of Man. It's a nonsense to have one village separated by two houses paying double the amount of money for rates.
You want to look at rate?
Of course,
it's not going to happen. Do you honestly think it's going to happen?
Well, it needs to be addressed. That people
but how?
Well, it's easily done. It's on square footage, isn't it? I mean, and people that are living in little cottages on a high street in a village are paying the same rateable value as people living in mansions in the countryside that were farms and were rated very, very low.
But overall, if you're living in the outback sort of thing, you're not going to pay anywhere near what you're paying in Douglas, and surely they're going to come up in rateable value if it's an all-on rate. And Douglas may dip a bit, I suppose, go down a bit or something.
Well, that really does need to be addressed, Paul. It's rather like the pensions issue, isn't it?
Okay, climate change has been back in the news. Any thoughts on that? Well, it's never out of the news now, of course, is it, really?
No, it's never out of the news. And I think it's difficult. I think it's wonderful what's been done on the Isle of Man with beach buddies and people ensuring that we're using... I was amazed outside ShopRite selling the brochures for the Secret Gardens, which happens on the
5th,
6th and 7th of July. Yeah. Well done, Paul.
Always get a promotion. I know it's good.
Anyway, but however, I was amazed at the number of people that were coming in with these special little bags that they've bought from a well-known company that sells bakeware, and you don't have to have a polythene bag or even a paper bag, and they're just rewashable, and you use them again and again. I think that's wonderful. But then, when you travel, and I've recently been to see my daughter and come back via Cambodia and Vietnam, to see the sea of rubbish, all plastic bags, it was quite distressing, because, and someone said that it's part of the culture that they expect things to go back into the earth. But of course, the realisation is not there that plastic will be regenerated, so it's just piled up wherever you look. And I was just thinking how much we're doing on the Isle of Man and how little large parts of the world are doing to address climate change.
To finish with, give me your impressions of the Quayle administration now. They're putting you on the spot, so we weren't necessarily going down that route, but halfway through the term, you must have an opinion on, has the government been dynamic,
Do you
challenging.
know, Paul, I think one of the things that ex-politicians should do is not observe politics.
That's a politician's answer.
No, that isn't a politician's
You're
answer.
skimming around it.
No,
Pam.
I'm
You're
not
skimming around it.
I really, genuinely.
You don't have an opinion, or you keep it to yourself?
No, if I had an opinion, everyone would know.
That's what I mean.
To myself.
So you don't have an opinion?
No, I really don't.
You mean you just pulled out of politics and let them all go?
I did. And I take an interest in so much as I see Howard and I see the workings of Tynwald as it's going. But if you were to start worrying about, when I was chairman of the post office, I did this, that and the other. It just doesn't work, Paul. It's far better. The people that are in there now are doing their very best, I feel certain, for the Isle of Man. From Howard to his ministers, and I think genuinely most of the backbenchers are supporting the Isle of Man. It was a little bit different when Mrs. Christian was trying to push through the new hospital against all opposition, and I think those times are gone. I think they work now far more closely together.